Shelo yolo moho ona yena moha. Shelo yolo moho ono maha ayewa. Shelo yela maha aniela huala yela te huala ha ana yoete. Shelo yolo momo maha aya. Yela me yala soto yala maye kaun.
Come along with us as we dive into the fascinating world of sound, exploring its many dimensions, blending the best of both worlds to uncover the secrets of sound, voice, and vibration. And today, I am so honored to have with us for the conversation Vickie Dodd. And I just told her that this has been one of my dreams to actually have a conversation with her, to interview her for this channel. So I can't tell you how tickled I am that you're here, Vickie, really.
I'm honored to be here. I have no clue, what we may talk about. So
that's even better, though, right? Get you in the flow. Really, what I wanted to talk about was her book, her new book, Healing Through Sound, Awakening Your Audible Body. Incredible book. And look at this. Look at all the tabs I have on it. And I highlighted. Every page is a gem. Really, truly, every page. And Vickie is one of the sound healing pioneers that many of us today are standing on her shoulders, truly, because she has been doing this work for decades. She has been a sound healing therapist, a body worker, a workshop leader, a musician, and an internationally recognized pioneer of sound healing through sound, for more than 50 years. She has collaborated with many people, including Don Campbell, and is an adjunct faculty member at the Globe Institute in San Francisco. I've seen her on many, many speaker summits. I have actually worked with her personally for my issues, and it has been an amazing experience to have her impart some of her wisdom in those sessions. It's been life-changing, truly. And Vickie, welcome.
Thank you. I have tears in my eyes right now. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for acknowledging this work. I made it up for myself. There wasn't anyone. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know anything. I just knew that I had to sound bodies because I was a body worker, and I could hear the frequencies, and I knew that, I used to use colored light bulbs. I used to use, all kinds of things that I had read about, but I didn't know anyone using voice at that time at all. So I would ask people permission. They'd be on my table, and I'd say, "Would you mind if I made some sounds?" And I did, and most people, because we love to be touched, and I am a good body worker. I used to be a very good body worker, probably when I was younger. But just don't stop what you're doing. You can go ahead and do those sounds, just don't stop what you're doing. So as long as I didn't interrupt myself, they didn't mind. And so people gave me permission to have my own laboratory, so I could actually witness underneath my hands, in my view, because I would take before and after pictures, to be able to see, does sound change form? Does it rearrange form and posture? I knew we were a liquid system, but I wanted to be able to visually people to see this. I mean, we do before and after, but we're such quick forgetters, that we don't really notice what has actually changed. So in the very beginning, I got that I really needed to give people all kinds of before experiences, or they would not notice what has actually happened. They would just notice they felt better.
Right.
No longer had this pain. But I wanted it to get more specific. I don't know, maybe I went off too far there with you.
No, not at all, Vicki. I think that documenting it in that way is extremely important for human beings, especially because we do forget. We need that extra little bit of proof that shows us, and that's what's so wonderful about your work over these many decades. You have been able to document a lot of the actual visual proof of how sound, voice specifically, can restructure matter, especially in dealing with the body, with the fascia and the musculature and everything. So there's, whether it's somebody's doing it to you or you're doing it for yourself, the power of this is tremendous. We see it. Well, science uses sound every day in breaking up kidney stones and so forth. There's something called histotripsy, I believe, is the word for it now, where they're using sound in like a laser beam type of way to attack cancer cells and tumors and so forth. But absolutely. And what I was speaking to you before about, before we started, the story that I absolutely love that you tell about the amazing way sound affects people, voice affects people, is that conversation about when you went to that conference in Italy and you felt completely out of your depth. So I hand it over to you to share that story. It's a wonderful story. Oh my gosh.
I got invited to this conference, which really was a life-changing place for me because by being with folks that were, uh, that were scientists, were physicists, they needed proof, and that they got it, and that actually that sound changed the form of that conference. I couldn't sleep the night before, and I was all that I was going to do was go up because it was terrifying. I watched them just massacre people. I mean, these are just my words, my experience. I was from, not well, we didn't call it New Age, but that came later. They calling it New Age, but I was, where I was from, a whole different way of working with people and talking to people.
So, from what I remember of what your story, you said you kind of didn't even have anything prepared, or you just totally froze, right? But what happened? What did you share with them?
And so I was prepared to go, I'm very sorry. Thank you for inviting me. Uh, but I really cannot present today. That was going to be my bow out.
Yeah.
Um, and I got up to the microphone and instead what happened was and it went on and on and on for it felt about 10 minutes. I have no idea. But I all of a sudden I could see this purple I have on today. It's interesting that I put this on because that was the color coming out of my mouth.
Oh, wow.
And it just went on and then it hovered. And I'm so glad that I had some people there that saw it and could played it back to me. It
Yes.
color, this purple violet, hovered over the audience and then came down, and literally like kind of covered it all, embraced us all, and then people started moving closer together and crying and holding each other. And I mean,
Ah,
this is sound. This is not Vickie Dodd. This is not Sue Radcliffe. This is the power of frequency and intention
hmm,
and surrender.
hmm.
When you surrender to that which is greater, and my surrender came in because I was absolutely terrified. I give.
You had nothing to do but surrender at that point, right? What a
I
great story. And people were hugging each other.
each other. They were crying. They were.
Oh my
They were.
God.
There was not any emotional expression about this conference until this moment, and I mean, and it was absolutely beautiful, and it was sound. It was source in action. Well, from that, I ended up starting a sound school in Zurich for many years.
Wow.
from two women that were there. They were Jungian therapists. And they said, you've got to come and teach us what you're doing. And so that began a huge life change. But again, if I ever had any question about what we're doing and the power of sound, it was just erased. After that, no matter, because I was always ridiculed. When I started doing this, Ruth, it was definitely, I can't imagine what it must be like for the ones that came before me, because there was not any support for it for my timing of coming in.
Whatsoever. And yeah, and that brings me to another aspect of your book that I wanted to bring up was your roots, the how you grew up in. We all grow up with our stories, right? But you had, somewhat difficult first beginnings, and but you had what I thought was really helpful. You had these beautiful roots in earth wisdom, what you describe in the book, and you write. What I love, I want to tell people too about your book, how you write this beautiful poetry. Like you've got the beginnings here about the root patterns. I am from a boogie woogie mama, a two-stepper with a bluesy voice, a gambling gypsy daddy with black slicked hair who smelled of plumber's oil, half-breeds, Shawnees, tinkers and black Irish, so mixed up and meshed, no one remembers really. Storytellers, who knows what the truth is or was.
Was that and I think I write about this somewhere, but I had a lot of alone time,
Mm.
a lot of alone time with nature. People weren't watching me all the time. Um, keeping track of me. I mean, basically, it's like you know, come and where I lived, it was easy to parent compared to how it was when I was parenting, or a lot of, I mean, it was just easy because it was a very small rural area. Everyone kind of knew everyone. And so I could leave the house in the morning and come back for supper. But I spent a lot of time in trees, living in trees, sitting in trees. And so that's where a lot of my healing took place for myself. Uh, because, like, I've listened to people's stories now for many decades, so that's thousands and thousands and thousands. And our stories don't vary a whole lot, do they? You know, we think that they do, but after we start really listening to others, we go, oh my God, it's our commonality. It's not our uniqueness. Oh, I wasn't loved enough. I was loved too much. They betrayed me. I was betrayed. It's our commonality. These are our teachings. But it takes a while, I think, to grow emotionally or mature emotionally or to do enough inner work or get enough inner connection to not see it as a problem, but as a teaching, you know, and because there's so much I wouldn't have learned if I'd have been comfortable, you know. I mean, seeking our comfort may be one of the greatest impairments to our evolving. You know, it's like, don't get rid of that discomfort. Talk to it. What is it? What is the teaching? What are you actually what are you trying to get my attention about? Sometimes I have to be given discomfort to get, to wake up a little bit. I was thinking about that this morning, maybe, or I think about it more and more often now as I age, and my life is so blooming comfortable. It's never been so comfortable. I am grateful, but it doesn't, it's like, well, where's the itch? Where's the, you
Right.
know, and uh, yeah, so there's seeking the comfort, which I never had comfort uh, in that way because I traveled all the time. If you traveled a lot, you're rarely comfortable. I mean,
Very rarely comfortable, yes.
you know, but I traveled in those days because I had to find the people that I wanted that I could study with and that knew what I wanted to know because it wasn't like it is now or has been for the last 40 years actually. But you had to seek people, and there weren't big advertisements of us or you know. So anyway, that's not what you were asking. I think I
No. No, it was good. That was wonderful, Vicky. Thank you. Yeah, no, you couldn't just go online to somebody's website, right? Yeah, that's what's so amazing now. It's so accessible and perhaps maybe too accessible, right? A little too easy, a little too comfortable. Yeah. Well, any of the times that we all know that you have grown, it's through discomfort. Absolutely, right? I love this story about this reminds me about the story you told about the rock that taught you. Yeah, which is fascinating to me. That because of your connection that you were just speaking about living in trees to nature and that this is nature, our body is nature, right? So this is your connection to it, but that you were so much more aware of the sentience of what we would consider inanimate natural objects like a rock. It
Mm-hmm.
has sentience. It's right. It's all part of the all that is, like we are. And you were explaining how this rock just kind of was talking to you. It was kind of like calling you, compelling you, and to take it home. And you had
Yeah,
it, you lived with it. It was teaching you. It was
yes,
teaching you about yourself.
yes.
So I don't know if you remember that, if you want to speak into that at all.
All I can do to not want to go grab it. It's sitting over here on my.
You have it. Oh my gosh.
Don't mind, I'll go find it.
Yeah, please.
Like its own little bag. Yeah, this is just a plain old blooming rock up in Wisconsin, you know, and uh,
Beautiful. Oh, look at it. It's beautiful though. Wow.
it has changed its color. It has changed its shape in so many through the years, but it became a major teacher. Yeah, it is someday if we're ever in the same room. Uh, it's it's just a rock. It's not a beautiful, you know,
Crystal or anything. Yeah.
rock, which we love all of these things. This is literally a Wisconsin rock, and with a lot of iron in it. And but anyway, it was one of the first harmonic convergence. I don't know if you even remember those. Those were big deals in the 70s and 80s. It was supposedly one of these portals that was going to be open and people would meet in different places and we would listen and work together for 3 days at a time. So this was at one of these portals
Mm.
times and I was up in Wisconsin and yeah, so it told me to take it home and it literally taught me massaging it and it would start changing shape. And then years later, I'm teaching a class in Vermont and I started teaching a rock changing class there, because to be able, not for sensationalism, but for us to actually see that the earth is alive and it does change. And I lived in Colorado for many years and lived up in the foothills. And so there was a path that I right out my door. And so I got to watch some of the rocks over day after day, season after season, and I watched them change.
Mm.
Oh
Mm.
my God. Because sometimes it's hard to really get these are that we're living on living life.
Yes, we're living on living life. Yes, very, very well spoken. Yes.
And
Yeah.
And so in the mineral kingdom, especially, it would just we see it of course we see it in our trees. I'm looking out the window now, and these are already getting red
Yeah.
so early. Uh, but I mean, it literally, I'd never seen it in the mineral kingdom. I'd never seen it change like that.
Mm.
So until I was with it every day, watching it, having certain rocks that I was just watching through the seasons, like, oh, how they're changing. So it is actually, if anyone interested, it'd be something just to take something and watch it through the seasons. It
Mm.
is
Mm. Mm.
something. they're actually alive.
And I think there was one piece where you said that you were experimenting with the sound of your voice with the rock, and
Yeah.
you noticed that it was shifting shape because you were sounding to it.
This was my teacher. This was the first
Incredible. That's incredible.
yeah. And and so that was the beginning. That was its teaching for me. It's like, oh, if you sound what is there, and you if you sound what is there, not trying to change it, but just loving it and just sounding what is there. Same with the human form. If you just sound what is there without any judgment about it, that you should be longer, you should be taller, you should be brighter, you should be smoother, you should be softer. If you take all that away, and basically you're sounding, you're saying, I accept exactly how you are.
Mm, mm,
That's the whole message. I accept exactly, I love exactly, I honor exactly, whatever the words best suit, exactly how you are. As soon as we are accepted, at least this is true for me, and I think it's pretty, as soon as we accept that which is, as soon as I come to your tissue, if I'm working on your tissue and I accept it just as it is, then it goes, oh, now I have freedom to move and
mm.
to expand instead of like being judged. You should be longer, you should be softer, you should be light, you know? I don't know if I'm making sense, but on a cellular level, I really do believe that we respond to love. We respond to not just love, but to what is that acceptance. We just want to be accepted for how we are.
No, absolutely. Say if you go to a massage therapist, they're going to be like, "Oh, you're really tight here. You should be a
Right,
lot
right.
more loose." Blah blah blah. No, right. And how that was what was so unique about the way you were working with me was your insistence that acceptance of what is in the moment. I had when we were working together, I was flat on my back in a lot of pain with a back injury. And I remember you being so, just so loving and gentle with what you were saying and your sounding, and just to be very clear that my back doesn't want to be told that it's wrong, it's bad and wrong. It wants to just, Ruth, get what's going on here. This is telling you, leading you to a greater acceptance of yourself
And what is?
and what is, right?
If I can accept what is,
Right.
then I can walk through it regardless of what it is. I can, because I want, if I can accept what is, then I can get present,
Hmm.
you know? And that's what I think that we're wanting most of the time. Can I get here to what is? You know, I mean, going back to when did he write Robert and Dawes? When did he write Be Here Now? I mean,
Yeah.
that was sort of our whenever that came out a long time ago. But that was in its simplicity. That was it. Can I be here now? Just how it is now. If I can accept now, then now can change. Now can evolve. And gosh, it takes a long time, or it's not even doesn't about taking a long time. It just takes many times over and over and over. Can I accept now?
And I still think that no matter how many times you ask that question, you still have to keep asking it.
Over and over. I
Yeah,
wonder.
because we create the stories, yeah, about
That's
our
how
bodies, about whatever, our lives. Yes.
exactly. Yeah.
Amazing. I love this quote: "All that has ever happened to us is recorded in our bodies as frequencies." Yeah, the recording, it's like there's this library inside of us, a living, what they call us, a living library sometimes, right? And another thing about that which is unexpressed runs the show.
Yeah.
So
That was
I'm sorry. No, it's okay. I'm sorry. So I'm just trying to say, from if everything is frequency and everything is recorded as frequency in our bodies, frequency and vibration, and imagine about all the things that are, that which is unexpressed, right? That are being locked inside of our body as frequency and vibration, and constrictions, and constricting our fascia or musculature or whatever, all the, so why wouldn't sound, voice, vibration
Mm,
unlock
mm,
these constrictions? I mean, it's like,
mm,
that
mm.
doesn't seem like a far reach to me. That
Oh,
seems like it makes perfect sense, but it's interesting how we don't go for that, we don't, it's like it doesn't quite,
well, the
it's like
judgment,
over our heads or something. Yeah.
it's the judgments,
The judgments. Yeah.
we judge what is good, what is a good sound, what's a bad sound, what's a right sound, what's a wrong sound, instead of like, what, just, can I just accept whatever sound is there? Can I just try to match it? Because it's basically, I'm wanting to match what is there, not even try to change it. But if I'm going to have a judgment about it, I can't match it, you know? And and our bodies, whatever part of the body it is that is watching and determining and deciding if you like me or don't like me, or how do you want me to be or not be, or it's always listening, right? So, oh, you don't like me, oh, I'll be another way. Do you like this way, and so we start becoming whatever our characteristics are, or what we got entrained to. Uh, so what we're wanting to do, I think, is sound healers, or I don't even like that word really, but because I don't know what anyone's healing means, but what was sound teachers, sound practitioners, Kiansavi, is that we're wanting to just match what is there. We're wanting to actually say, I'm in acceptance of however you are today. I want that body, that being to be able to really relax,
Mm-mm.
not have to be putting on a different, you know, oh, I'm sorry, I should have cleaned that shirt before I came, or I don't know, but
Yep.
I think if you work with people, you understand what I'm saying, that you're just absolute. I mean, we hear these words like you're just perfect exactly as you are. We rarely believe that,
Yeah.
you know. And so somehow we really want to, in our own healing practices with ourselves and with others, really, can I truly accept what is here? Please teach me how to accept what is. I don't know how to accept what is. I mean, this is the inner work that I've been practicing for many decades now, is just getting that kind of honesty with myself. I don't know how to accept this. Please teach me. I don't know even necessarily who or what or how, who that I am speaking to, but something that is greater than me, because my personality is going to have all these judgments about how it should be, ought to be, could be, if I had only, if they had, of, you know, you know. So I have to talk to that which is greater, whatever that might mean, greater than my personality. And please teach me. Let me become teachable. Let me learn how to truly just respect this being as it is, whether it's myself I'm working with or someone else. And I can't I don't know, does it get any better than that? In some ways, it's like if I can accept what is in a really loving way, doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that I accept it, but I accept that that is what is.
That there's such grace in that, Vicki.
Grace in
Yeah, there's grace, and there's also the acceptance, the complete, well, it's unconditional love, isn't it? Really, that's what that is. It's agape love that you're giving yourself or another, your client, and your body, as you said, it's listening. And it's funny when you said that, I'm kind of turning through your book a little bit while we're, I wanted to bring up some points, but this beautiful thing that you wrote about the body's listening, the body is listening to see if we are listening. Even if we are inaccurate, the body will make it accurate. The body is a very forgiving teacher. All beings are aware if we are listening. All beings are aware if we are listening with acceptance of what is. Acceptance of what is the key for transformation.
Mm. I agree.
I'm telling you, did you realize? It's like, geez, you're really good. Did I write that?
So blooming grateful that I did write this.
Yes, very.
I'm in such agreement with it.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe it was my age that by the time I wrote this, is that by that time I've been around for, how long have I been in sound work? I don't know. But I'm 80 now, so not a long time. Uh, I really wanted to simplify it. I wanted to demystify, and it really does. It really does. I know that we say this, but the more we practice, the more that I accept exactly how I am, the more that I can change however I need to be. I mean, it is in
Perfect.
the power of acceptance, and really this body, not my body, your body, but the body, our bodies, our beings, really need, I think, as much acceptance as possible for just being how we are and what it has taken us to get to where we are. And, I remember years ago just laughing with friends. It's like, who needs an enemy with our minds going, and then you didn't do this. And then if you only done that, and if you had done it, it takes for me anyway, it's taken a long time to tame that character.
And that character, that brings me to another piece. You talk in the book about singing love songs to your shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there it is, the shadow. You should have done this, you should have done that. You're no good, you're too fat, you're too this, blah, 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 right? That's your
So,
shadow. And, we can't push, it's pushing it aside or ignoring it. It's not going to go away, right? You have to embrace it. And that's, again, accept what is and, sound to that. Um, it's,
and
I'm sorry, go ahead, please.
and actually go directly to ourselves and say, how do you want me to love you?
Hmm.
Teach me. How do you receive? Talk to these different characters. I when I say characters, just different parts of ourselves, or some parts actually matured at a certain age. Some parts are still at about 2 years old, or some parts have never, they've reincarnated so many times with us that they're zillions of years old. Whatever, it doesn't matter, whatever the belief system is. But we come to ourselves just in that honest place of like, teach me, please. Let me become teachable. What would you have me know? Because I can have all kinds of ideas of what I need to know. But I think that the more we do this inner work, more and more we say, forget what it is that my personality wants. What is it that you're wanting me to have and know?
Yeah. Yeah. And there are some in the book you go over some ways that people can, some practices that people can do to help. And one of the most helpful for me was the concept of
Oh,
emptying out. Because how can we take on, right, energy from other, it's just like, no, it's not good or bad, it's just what it is. We're in the world, we take on other beings energies, other energies from experiences and whatnot, and to be able to consciously somehow release that with sound. It absolutely works. I've had to do that so many times for myself, and it's a whole nother level when you have the intention of doing it, of releasing it, right? Because it really, hands down, has been one of the best things I've ever learned,
mm,
honestly, for
mm,
my self care.
mm,
Yeah,
mm,
without a
mm.
doubt. Because I grew up, we all grow up in our stories. I have all the stuff going on like everybody else does, and you carry it with you through life. But it's like, what do you do with it? We're all walking around with this ticking time bomb, essentially, of all this constriction and stress and anxiety. What the heck do we do with it? And to use how beautifully simple to use your voice. Use nature. Go outside and ground, which is what I do. I go outside and I ground and I shake and I move around and I just let whatever wants to come out with intention. I have intention of giving it back. So that has been amazing for me, really.
Mm. Yeah, it's transformative. Our
Yes.
voice is transformative. The earth is transformative. You're so fortunate that you can go out. I mean, I am as well. I can go out into my yard, into the world here. But, but I lived a lot of times, many years in concrete, you know, big cities and, many floors up or whatever. And that's why I love this because it can work that, one of our greatest healing tools is our ability to imagine. Let me imagine that the roots of my system can plug in, go all the way into the earth wherever I might be. I've done it on airplanes, but let me plug in. So it doesn't, so our imagination allows us to get exactly what we need, to plug in exactly where we need to plug in. Is it nicer that I can go out into my yard and it's there? Yeah, but it's not just for folks to really not to be restricted because they don't have that, that we can do it anywhere. That's why the imagination is probably one of our greatest healing tools, our abilities. I'm trying to think someone that I really admired years, I don't know, decades ago. I was reading them and they were talking about imagination, our ability to imagine. And I don't know who that was. All of a sudden now I'm thinking of John Lennon, but that was not who I was. Imagine, da, 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 da. But I mean,
Yes.
that power. Let me imagine myself being well. Let me imagine myself being free. Let me imagine myself being healthy. Let me imagine it because I can imagine, oh my God, the earth is falling apart. Oh my God, look who's running the show. Oh, I can imagine all that without any problem at all. So let me imagine that my nervous system is fine regardless of what's going on.
Mm.
Let me act as if. That was always a beautiful, let me act as if I'm all right. Because as soon as I go into all the fear that is everywhere, the reasons, Savi, but basically I need to know I can't do anything about it. It's bigger than me. It will take me before I change it, whatever it might be.
Mm. Mm.
Imagine that my nervous system is healthy, it's well, it's plugged into that which is healthy and well, So I'll think clearer instead. I haven't watched television in maybe 40 years or so. Yeah.
Good for
And
you. Wow.
well, I don't, yeah. I watch
Yeah.
movies. I've got a television.
Okay.
I watch movies. I watch sitcoms. I can decide what I want, but I know the kind of being that I am. I'm a little addict. You give me a television, I'm going to watch everything on there, and I'm going to be nuttier than a fruitcake, and then I'm going to be watching the news, and then I'm going to be fighting everyone and everything. So I have to learn how to take care of my nervous system. Maybe other friends, people I know, they can do that. I don't have that.
It's interesting because my husband and we don't watch the news or anything like that either.
Mm-hmm.
No, we haven't in years. And we both, we do like you say, we have those different channels where you can watch the sitcoms and whatnot and the movies, but that's it. Yeah. No, no more. No, we don't either.
The
Um,
illusion, I'm sorry, the illusion to think that you won't know. You cannot not know.
yeah.
It would be nice if we didn't know. I love it. I love it when I go camping because I can for sure that no one's going to come up on the trail and tell me. But and I'm not going to see a headline someplace because usually you just need a headline, you know. Uh, and so we're fortunate, Ruth. We're fortunate.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really is an addiction.
It is an addiction. I know. I know. And I think as much as I love the technology and I work with it a lot, and I'm always on my phone doing things, posting and whatnot, but I can absolutely feel how it takes me away from me.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm. Yeah, it takes me away from my presence. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I'm grateful for the telephone. I have friends all over the blooming planet, and I just think that it's absolutely a miracle that I can talk to a friend in Denmark or something. I mean, I love that. Uh, but and that can absolutely, but when I can get dangerous is all of a sudden I can start looking for things. Again, that addictive personality, I can start being on my phone and start, oh my God. And I never did that until just recently. And so I'm just interrupt, I'm saying it out loud. You have to tell on yourself often to change things.
Set your intention. Yeah, it's interesting, and I think that, put the phone down and just sit and be quiet and listen to your body, for a couple minutes. There is, yeah, there's interesting, like, different sounds I know that you talk about that can also do different things. And what were you were talking about, like, in the book? The E sound is very like up for your pineal gland. The ha, you were telling me about that, to use that for my solar plexus. Uh, ha, ha, ha. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good for releasing.
And that goes way back to the uh, when you go into the Orient, and that was, those sounds were such a part of the, understanding that this whole solar plexus, right, just houses so much of the way we sit or the digestive system. There's so much going on in this one part of our bodies. It doesn't seem appropriate. I mean, it's having to do so many different biological, organic, breaking down, digesting, la, 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 la. So a lot, and the way we sit and closing in on ourselves, or how our body is shaped. So because of where that diaphragm and that large intestine goes across, and then the small intestine, it really does need our help of moving, you
Yeah.
know. And so what you were describing there, yeah, it's, and especially so it's the emotional brain center, they used to call it in some of the old esoteric schools. uh, Pythagoras, I think, talking, going back and back and back. So we've always looked at these different centers, and so this one does store. So I'm glad you're bringing it up, because I you just reminded me I really need to do some of that, because I'm getting full of some of the outside world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think when we feel that, we can just come to this solar place, ha, ha, hey, hey, ha, whatever it is, trying to get my voice to actually move this diaphragm, and all those beings that came before us. So many of those wise, they knew to do this, and especially like we're saying in the Orient.
You mean like in traditional Chinese medicine? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure. And in India, I'm sure. I mean, there's not is
Yeah,
not a yoga, the yoga of sound, right? I mean, this has been around for thousands of years.
exactly. Yeah, you know,
And
so any
what
folks look at. Mhm.
in another sound you talk about that I use a lot is the soothing sounds, right? Oh,
Hmm. Oh, shala, ma, 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 ma.
right.
Oh.
That's that like that acceptance. It's
Mhm.
okay, honey. You're just great the way you are. And even if you just put your hands on your body and just do that. That just, because I'm trying to help people learn how easy these things are to do, right? But it's amazing. And, I saw this as a voice teacher for many years too. People are terrified of using their voice. They're terrified of it. They don't even want to themselves to tell somebody to go, ha, 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 ha. They'd be looking at you like you had two heads. I'm not doing that, you know?
I'll do that when I get home, Vicki.
I'll do that when I get home. There really, it's like what is it that has conditioned us out of this ability, which is it's our birthright, and it has been for thousands of years. It's all this old, gorgeous, ancestral lineage that we have to use our voices, to heal with our voices, how did that get conditioned out of us through many, many eons of whatever, shutting us down to that, you know? And I know when you're a kid, when you get made fun of if you make a sound or you sing, I had to deal with that too, right? We all had to deal with that. That shuts you down for life. One
You,
little
yeah, I'm
word.
sorry. Mhm. Didn't you train in classical music?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Well,
started out. Yeah.
I really found that to be in my clientele because when I first started going to Europe, my clientele was really all trained classical singers. I didn't understand it has because I had not been my training, and I didn't know. And so finally, I asked two of the teachers to give me just a short demonstration of how they were trained. Within less than 5 minutes, they had me crying.
Mm.
I found it, I mean, I think it's absolutely cruel training. It's like it's taught on the no. Make a sound. No. Again. No. Yeah, no. I mean, but but since I spent so much time working with dancers and people trained in ballet, people trained in and but yeah. Anyway, it was the way that it was trained, and especially when I was in Europe and people that had really trained it with the masters, da 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 da. I just found it absolutely cruel for my system. I mean, really, they had me in tears in a very short time.
Mm.
And it really is an evolutionary concept to teach from a yes, to teach like, oh, you're doing good, you know. And if we could just even remember that with ourselves, it's like, oh, you're really doing good.
But there is so much more to this than we know.
Yes.
As you have found out, as you have shared with us in this amazing, amazing, amazing book. And there's so much more, Vicki. I know we could just keep going on and on and on here, really, because it's so beautiful. I'm just saying every page has something, has a gem on it, really. And I can't say enough about your beautiful book. I just can't. And you, yeah, really, it's just beautiful. And you talk about music in here. Sound stirs my blood, deepens my breath, quiets my mind, caresses my trust, cultivates my passion, restores me to right size, reminds me to move, reminds me that I am movement, reminds me that I love to move, reminds me that I am ageless. And it goes on. Beautiful. It helps us remember who we are, doesn't it? I think you've said that in the book several times. Yeah.
Yeah. I am, yeah. I'm always in awe of what our voices can do in terms for our healing and our health and and how effortless it can be, and especially if we take away a lot of the rules, you know. Um, I mean, you were a trained singer. So many of my students and people I've known through the year, and and I wasn't, so I didn't have a lot of the rules. I think if I'd had a lot of the rules, I wouldn't have done what I did years ago.
Yeah, it was very difficult for me as a trained singer to start to allow something different to come forth with my voice that one, just to make
Now it's different.
very different.
And that's what the trained, especially the classically trained singers taught me. I mean, they had rules, rules upon rules upon rules of what was right, and so they had. So I really started appreciating how much they had to keep unwinding to be able to find what their voice, what just really might be, because there was just so many judgments about it and especially and you know and I'm talking about really talking about classically trained European singers at that time,
Yeah.
and and but I don't know how much it has changed really, because I also worked with classically trained dancers and their bodies, and it was a very similar posturing. It was very difficult to for their bodies to be any different, um, because it was held in a certain way, and I had to always be in a certain way. I mean,
Sure. And musicians too. We were just watching this incredible pianist. I mean, it's just it's perfection. It's striving for this perfection, and that's the piece that I really want to help people with is to be able to, like you say, make me teachable. Ask yourself, what is holding you back from making organic sound?
beautiful.
Right? What's holding me back? What is it that, why can't I just go, even just wah, or anything. And then ask, once you find that out, then maybe allow your body to take the lead in that. What kind of sounds do you want to make today? Would you like to make sound? And it's always, that's what I learned from you. It's always asking, inviting, right? Your body. What does your body need today? What can I do for you today? What would you have me? How would you have me be, sound, whatever? Yeah, and that I'm always trying to help people get over that fear. And what I notice in myself and my students, why I really got into this, I'm sure a piece of it too, you understand this on a very deep level, is sound shifts you. It transforms you. Once you start like stretching your idea of what you can do with your voice, if you make a sound and you use a body movement with that or something like that, like even if it's uncomfortable, it can free you up in ways you can't even imagine. Something that simple. There's something that happens that it melts, right? It melts the tissue, it reorganizes the tissue, and then there's a whole other thing about the cymatics with the beautiful sacred geometry of the sound that liquefies and reforms the liquid in your cells, and it's such a huge, beautifully rich tapestry. It really is.
It really is, and it's so simple. I can do so much for myself within less than a minute. You don't need much time, and you don't, and I don't have to carry any instruments. I don't have to anything. I mean, it's just with us. Our voice is just with us, and I've worked with people uh, who couldn't speak, and so if the power of sound is even powerful if I imagine it,
Oh,
because pardon?
no, you're getting to that was my favorite part of how I've been working with what you suggested, the inner hum, the inner
Mhm.
sound, imagining that I'm making sound unbelievable. I told you I was unwinding. I was just imagining a sound going up and down my spine. And I was starting to do this. My body was twisting and I wasn't doing it. My body was unwinding. It was amazing.
That's
And
right.
shivers and all this energy moving.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel. Yeah, I was like, I can't wait to tell Vicki.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to remember who it was. It was like in the 70s, I think. This woman wrote a book on the power of imagery, something. And when you take sound, like you're just talking about, and then start imagining sound, which maybe a lot of us do, or if we don't do this, just remember that we could do this, right? And just exactly what you're describing. So I can be right here talking to you, and still I can imagine a certain sound going on to let me stay present, to let me stay here. And I really got in touch with the power of this when I would be traveling so much, and and people would be housing me in their homes, and I would be very tense, scared, trying to get into my body, da da da. Especially when I was doing so much Europe or South American so long hours on a flight. How do I get present in a new place? The languages, just life in someplace else. And I could lay in my guest room and I could imagine myself sounding, screaming, hollering, carrying on, moving. So our imagination, because I couldn't do any of this out loud. So I'm glad you're bringing that up because our ability to imagine clicks off, uh, triggers, activates all of the syntaxes, all of the neurons. It gets everything alive and moving. It's not about the volume. It's not about, it's just not about volume.
Yeah, they've done studies where they said the brain does not know if you are not actually moving, doing an action or carrying something out. All you have to do is imagine it, and the same your synapses will fire and everything will happen. They've done this with athletes where they imagine hitting a ball or imagine something, and it completely changes the way they, yeah, it's fascinating because what is our imagination? Our creativity. That's our manifestation energy. That's it's frequency,
It's
right?
frequency, probably one of the most powerful things we can do if we're working with clients who can't, I work different times. I work with people who are paralyzed or had strokes, and and I know this is old now, but it was new at the time that I was working with it, going back 30, 40, 50 years, and having people imagine their hum or frequency or listening to what it would, and just imagine it to start waking up that system, even if they couldn't move it, you know, keeping the health alive inside, keeping an activity going on inside, keeping things movement is health.
That's probably a really good way for people who are, very inhibited about making sound, for them to start sounding is to use that inner sound, that inner hum.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because and then if they want to graduate to the making it for real with their voices, but I think the inner, as you said, the inner is almost seems more powerful in a way, doesn't it?
For me, it's more powerful in terms,
Yeah.
it's a lot more concentration as you really get into it. So we do have to develop an inner, an inner watch, an inner watch, that
Yeah.
let me stay in movement because so much of the outer world can put me on hold, can say, no, stop. And I can go into freezing. Pardon?
Well, these things,
Yes,
these put you to sleep.
yes, yes. And especially if you start scrolling, is that what it's called? Scrolling?
Hmm?
Mhm. You know, and so we have to, I think we have to be really, some of us need to be more watchful at different times than we maybe needed to be at one time. And it's very seductive, and it's very seductive. Before you know it, we've been sitting there for 30 or 40 minutes scrolling.
Right. And you're going, where did the time go? Oh my God. Yeah. So I think it calls for all of us to be far more aware,
Yeah,
not to say it's bad and wrong. It's just be more aware.
stay more aware. Do I really
Yeah.
want that coming in? And especially coming in with the frequencies that's on our phones or in our computers that we have. Uh, it's so sophisticated, it can start matching my own frequency. It, I mean, we used to talk far more about this, about being on the internet so much. We used to say only, remember when we restricted it to only an hour at a time? And when we restricted it to saying we need an Ott lamp. Remember the OTT, John Ott? And it was to neutralize the frequency. I've not seen an Ott lamp talked about in years. And,
Nope.
you know, and we have computers. We're carrying the computers in our pockets, on our chest, in our back. I mean, so we are such adaptogens, which is the great gift of being a human being, but it's also our downfall. you know, it's so much more convenient. It works. I'm okay. I'm still standing because then we start breaking our own rules and we have less and less, uh, yeah, parameters of what is health. And yeah, so these are really good things you're bringing up into my consciousness. Because I think over the summer I've gotten it's been a very challenging summer. I don't know how it's been for you or personally. Uh, Sometimes are just more challenging than others, and astrologically it's very challenging. So I mean, just so I have to factor all of that in, that it's not so personal, but I do need to be aware of how it may be affecting me personally and how it may be changing my view.
So, Vicki, I would be honored if you would share with us um, a sound prayer.
Ishikota na nyamataye, Ishikota nyana na mama ataye, Ishikota nana na mama ataye, Ishikota nana na mama ataye, Ishikota nana mama ye ono maha onea ena on ayo ona mayela ta Ishikota no no mo o niela ma o ona yela tia Yoshinielo mo ona yena maha asota yela gato ye Ishikota nana mo na na mo no na ye no na ma ye no mama na ne o an ya no ya lo no you no you no Shelo yolomo ona yena moha. Shelo yolomo ono maha ayewa. Shelo yolomo anela wala yela tu wala ha ana yoete. Shelo yolomo maha aya. Shelo yolomo ola ha anaya. Shelo yolo yolo yu yalo yu yalo yu yalo ye yalo yalo ona ane yu Shani Oh, blessed be, grateful, grateful, grateful. Thank you, Lama Sata Yekola Hanayo, Ela Mama Yetua Sata Ona Yuta Ye, Yahane. I think you know this song. Yela Meya La Soto Yala Maye Kaun, Kalawaya La You. Anything that you want to come out with, sing with me, Yala Sato, Shalama Sata Yela Yela Kato. Doma mama yetia, yala mama yellow, 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 que la masa, oh yellow, oh yo leyo, oh you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful that we're on the planet at the same time, woman. I tell you. Thank you for everything that you bring to this planet, to every one of us. I am so grateful.
And you as well, Vicki. It's been such an honor to get to know you and to have you here today. Like I said, it was a dream for me, and you made my dream come true today. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm honored to be honored by you, I'll tell you. And they are paths keep meeting.
Yes.